So tomorrow we'll be looking a little bit more differenter than I thought. Oops.
Welcome! This is not Auto Shenanigans, and I'm not John.
Welcome back. It's morning, and I'm just leaving Ruatiri. First time I've been to Ruatiri in ages. Can't even remember when. Fantastic to be back, but now the adventure begins. Heading back into Ngātahi, top up with gas and see where we end up. It's a bit of weather roulette again this time, but with a plan.
I think this is going to be the tone of this trip, is dodging rain. But that's okay. I've come here to Kākahi, just out of Kākahi, which is basically a big cutting, and at night, allegedly there are glowworms in here. I'm not here at night, so I can't verify that, but I now know where it is, and shall I be passing through this way at night, I'll come and have a look. So it comes out at Papara Reserve, which is on the Papara River. Curious as to what the abutment for the bridge was. If I'm correct, this area was actually a logging tramway at the time, so there's a potential that it was something to do with that. If I find out those details, I'll put them on the screen or something.
It was for a logging tramway that was across the other side of the river. The bridge was actually only built in 1956 and then washed away by a flood in 58, so it didn't last very long.
Couldn't resist stopping and having a bit of a look and taking some photos of the abandoned trains, but I did resist the urge to go full urbex and go looking around, because that's not something we're going to do. They are very intriguing. Now this is a very quick look to see if this is actually possible to do at the moment, because there is a stream crossing right at the start of this loop, which you then have to cross twice. Apparently after heavy rain it's not passable. We've had a reasonable amount of rain, but I don't know what it's quite like, but already I'm loving the look of this track. So that's an absolutely not today, but know that it's well worth coming back to do. If you'd like to see that, you know what to do.
It's a little bit disappointing, but not unexpected. Ironically, last time I came through this area, it was heavy rain. That was on the Tawhio, and if you haven't seen that video, try and put a link in the description. But that leads me to the next couple of things that I'm going to go and have a look at, which I didn't know existed back when I were on the Tawhio, but now I do, and I want to have a look. Turning into a real game of weather roulette to get these photos and so on. And there's two things that I'm on the hunt for now. One of them still exists. I don't know if I can see it. The other, not sure if it still exists, and if it does, I will hopefully be able to see it. I guess they don't call this the Forgotten World Highway for no reason. In saying that, this isn't actually the Forgotten World Highway, this is beyond the highway. That doesn't give you the indication of just how heavy that rain is. It's a little bit like deja vu from the Tawhio.
So unfortunately there's no good vantage point for Papara Fall. You can hear it and you get glimpses of it, and if you're doing the Wanganui River journey from Taumarunui, you'll paddle past it and it'll be quite spectacular, but not seeing it from the road all that well. Later in the trip I may actually do a bit of a journey to see if a track to the top of that still exists, that I believe that it may have at one point in history. Well, farmer just told me jump his fence, go up into the paddock, and should get a good view of it from up here, so that's pretty awesome. So this is the Ohura River and Ohura Falls. This is a lower waterfall. There is one further around the corner out of sight. And over here is Marae Kauai, or if you're not from Wanganui, Marae Kauai Reserve, which used to be accessed by a swing bridge across the Ohura River, but that was not maintained by DOC in the late 90s, early thousands. Sadly, in its unmaintained state, somebody fell through it and died. It's since been removed. But this is the confluence of the Ohura River where it joins the Wanganui. And across the other side of the river is the back blocks of Tokarima. There used to be a track leading from Tokarima to the swing bridge. It doesn't appear on maps. It doesn't mean I won't go looking for it. So stick around. Unfortunately, directly down the hill, there seems to be no remnants of Alexander Hattrick's houseboat. So while it had no motor, it was known as the houseboat, and it was towed into situ, and that was accommodation for travellers heading up the river.
The passengers on Alexander Hattrick's riverboat service, which comprised of a number of vessels, 13 if I remember correctly, including the Waimarie and the Wairua, which I've taken you guys on in the past. The travellers would stay at Pipariki House and at the houseboat.
Morning. I'm in search of a cup. So I turn this off while I do it. Really quiet night last night down here at Ohinipane. Quite a bit of rain. Beautiful and quiet here. Nobody else at camp last night.
Making my way alongside the Ohura River. According to Google Maps this morning, there is a bridge across it. However, it could very well be a private bridge like the random swing bridge that I saw earlier. The intention is to see if there is still a track to the Nui poles and Hattrick's houseboat mooring. That fills me with confidence. Let's see if it's unfounded confidence.
Well, that's led to nothing, unfortunately. Comes to the end of a road, and at the end of the road, it's all private land. There would have once been a track through there, but that's long since been forgotten, as mentioned earlier. And what I could see on the map is actually a ford. So I believe this will very much be private access to the farm across the river.
So that was a little bit of a detour for not a great deal. It has led to some abandoned buildings. So I put some of those up on the Buy Me a Coffee page. So I'm beginning to put up a lot of photos that don't make it into the videos. There'll be a few that don't go up for the general public. So if you want to support me over there, go for it. Tuesday morning traffic jams. Very curious cow at the top of the hill. Well, they weren't joking about panoramic views from up here. Down there is where the Land Rover is. It's about a 5-minute walk. But that 5 minutes is entirely uphill.
One of the lesser known quirks of the Forgotten World Highway is this intersection, controlled by a compulsory stop. It's unusual for a state highway to be intersected by a minor road. The reason for this is because State Highway 43, now known as the Forgotten World Highway, originally finished in Ohura, until a reroute was made in 1991-92 and given the name the Forgotten World Highway. More about this in the future.
We turn left. Anyone that's been following for a while or that knows me knows that Ohura and that general area is quite a special place. So that will be coming up in the future, just not this time. It's quite the contrast. Steep winding road on one side, gentle descent on the other, stream barely even moving. It's the headwater of the Papara stream, which I've never ever noticed before, despite having stopped here numerous times after the massive climb that is the Papara Saddle when coming from Ohura. This saddle is missed off every guide on the Forgotten World Highway. No one counts it, there's no signs that it's here, yet it's the tallest of the saddles. And so the Papara stream follows its way down and then joins with the Tangaro River. This is the junction of the Papara stream and the Tangaro River. It's one of the many former roads off the Forgotten World Highway. So this is Tangaro North Road that remained a road till sometime in the late 80s. Like many of these roads, including the Wangamomina Road, they're very resource intensive to maintain. The Tangaro Gorge, as I've mentioned previously, is the last unsealed state highway in New Zealand, and it is currently in the sealing process. Now, I don't believe this was ever a road, not appeared on any of my maps and my searching. I'll have a bit more of a search now that I've come up this way, but I'm curious nonetheless because there's recent tyre tracks up here which accumulate nowhere. Peaceful though. So I'm opposite Morgan's Grave. That's not the destination today. This here was proposed to be the junction of Tangaro Road and Ohura Road. Tangaro Road would have come out following the Tangaro River, to which the bridge goes over just here. Tangaro is 6 kilometres off the main highway from the other side of the Papara Saddle. So Tangaro Road would have diverted around the Moki Range, missing out the Papara Saddle and given a direct route. But that never happened. Tangaro, which was quite a significant town for a brief period of time with 1,200 people. We'll explore the other end of the road when we get there. So I was mistaken. They're sealing sections at a time that do not start or finish in a logical order. Apparently they have attention span issues as well and have started in 3 different places. Who am I to judge? Very old and long forgotten clue that this
was a road. So this is the Tangaro Gorge end of Mount Damper Road, which Mount Damper Road was a through road on maps up until mid-80s, according to the maps that I've seen, but like a lot of these roads, it was abandoned because there was no need for it. Moki Road, which turns into Papara Road, serves the same purpose and didn't have challenges such as dropouts like this. As luck would have it, one of our showers is coming back over as I'm halfway from the Land Rover to where I want to go. Much of the road alignment still remains. Hopefully I can just take shelter under the trees and it'll be fine. Just a passing shower at this point. They're supposed to get heavier as the day progresses. This here is the big problem with Moki Road. Sorry, Mount Damper Road. See previous attempts to retain the road. Then down in the river here, there's no named waterfall. About 7 metres if I remember correctly off the maps. Okay, rain's getting heavier. So I want to get back to somewhere dry. It is possible to cross the waterfall. It's not normally a waterfall, but we've had a lot of rain. And I can see no good reason to try on a day like this, and I'm only going to have to come back over it anyway. Of course, you can't get out of the Land Rover anywhere without finding rubbish. Broken glass is probably the reason that I picked that up, so that it doesn't get broken, but I'm a little bit late to this one. Bit of a draft coming through the tunnel. That sign swaying like that is a bit disconcerting. Another wet night in Wonga. Supposed to be pretty good tomorrow, so gonna settle in, relax, charge a few things up, including myself. And potentially the biggest day of not being in the Land Rover tomorrow, so let's see how that goes. Hopefully the weather plays the game.
So in typical spring fashion, it's poured with rain overnight and came out to a pretty good morning this morning. So back on the road, one thing I'm very aware of with this area is most things are best done after a week of fine weather. We haven't had that, so there's some things that just are not on my list. Speaking of which, two things that I had planned for today, I've had on my list for a very long time, and as such, I didn't put any research into them because I know where they are and how to get there. I just so happened to be looking last night to get a rough idea on how long it will take in terms of distance, and realised that both the tracks I want to do are currently closed for lambing until Friday. Today's Wednesday. I'm back at work on Friday. So,
Well, that's awkward. So I haven't actually come to Tangaro this time. I've come to Ohura Falls. because this waterfall almost doesn't exist in the height of summer, and what I want to see in Tangaro is still muddy and otherwise in summer. So I'm certainly not trying that today. It'd be good to see the fall with some water. Moki Tunnel, or the Moki Saddle, not the Moki Tunnel, or Moki Road. Apparently it is possible to take a trip around the tunnel on a former road alignment that predates the tunnel. So I'm starting at the Wonga end because it is far easier to make your way through from what I've spotted. It's been on the list for a while. Also, interesting point of note, this is one of 5 tunnels that Joshua Morgan, the surveyor, proposed. It was the only one built for the Forgotten World Highway. But if you like tunnels, hang around. There is more to come on this in the future. It's just taken me some time. Okay, bit of a challenge. And it's raining. I'm going to take the punt and check this way out because I have no idea. No, that's too steep. Road wouldn't have gone up there. Now the rain started, but I had the foresight this time to bring my jacket. Let's work out where this goes. There goes the road. That's interesting.